The darkness of the night envelops the house with only the silvery moonlight slipping through the curtains, casting faint streaks of light on the worn wooden floor. The clock on the wall quietly points to 3 a.m., a moment when the world seems to hold its breath. Your heart beats quickly, not out of fear, but because of a wondrous sensation, as if someone is softly calling your name in the stillness. This is not insomnia, not anxiety, but a divine invitation from God Himself, the one who has chosen you in this sacred hour to converse, to guide, and to embrace you in His loving arms. Everything that happens in your life is orchestrated by His hand, so why would 3 a.m. be any different? Listen, for God is whispering, "I am here just to speak with you." Are you ready to open your heart and trust that this moment is a destiny of faith? The hour of 3 a.m. holds a power unlike any other. It is when the world slips into slumber but heaven pulses with life. The air feels thinner, like a silken veil separating you from the eternal realm gently stirring. Your soul, often buried under the noise of the day, from the ringing phone, endless meetings, to worries about bills or health, suddenly becomes open like a window crack to let in a cool breeze from the heavens. God chooses this hour not by chance. He knows that in the stillness, when no one interrupts, when no emails or texts intrude, you can truly listen. He does not come with thunder or blinding light, but with the gentleness of a father sitting by your bedside, ready to share secrets that daylight cannot hold. The stillness of 3 a.m. is not merely the absence of sound. It is a sacred space where the soul is freed from the burdens of daily life. For middle-aged and older Americans who have navigated decades of ups and downs, from raising children, building careers, to facing inevitable losses, this moment carries special significance. Life may have accustomed you to chasing time, from rushed mornings brewing coffee to late nights checking emails. But at 3 a.m., time seems to stand still. There is no clock urging you forward, no to-do list looming. It is just you and the presence of God, like an old friend returning to remind you that you are never alone. A story from a church in Ohio illustrates this. An elderly woman, after losing her lifelong partner, began waking at 3 a.m. for no apparent reason. At first, she thought it was grief, but then she started praying in the stillness and felt a peace, as if God were sitting beside her listening. Those moments helped her rediscover joy in small things, like tending her garden or writing letters to her grandchildren. Thus, 3 a.m. became an invisible sanctuary where you can kneel without ornate words, needing only a sincere heart. God does not require perfection or answers to life's every question. He simply wants you there, listening, letting Him touch the wounds you've hidden for too long. Waking at 3 a.m. is not always pleasant. Sometimes it comes with a heaviness, as if an invisible stone rests on your chest. You might think it's anxiety, worries about finances, grown children who still keep you up at night, or the days ahead. But pause for a moment. That stone may not be anxiety, but the presence of God gently entering the room of your soul. He is not rushed, not loud. He is the master of time, and 3 a.m. is the moment He chooses to speak truths you're too busy to hear by day. It could be comfort for losses you've endured, a reminder that you are stronger than you know, or a small revelation about the path ahead. Whatever it is, it's a sign that you are chosen, loved, and guided. In American culture, where life moves fast and pressure is ever present, the stillness of 3 a.m. holds unique value. For middle-aged and older adults, it's not just a time to rest, but a chance to rediscover yourself. You may have spent decades caring for others, children, parents, colleagues, but now God invites you to care for your soul. In these moments, you realize this hour is not just a number on the clock. It is a threshold where time and eternity meet, where your soul is called to step into God's presence. He does not come to rebuke you for mistakes or demand perfection. He comes to remind you that you are His creation, made with love and purpose. Every hardship you've overcome, every tear you've wiped away, He has seen. And at 3 a.m., He whispers, "I am here and I will lead you." Under the dim glow of the bedside lamp, you sit on the edge of the bed, your bare feet touching the cold wooden floor. The clock quietly points to 3 a.m., but your mind is restless. A wave of thoughts surges like waves crashing against rocks. Worries about tomorrow, memories of days gone by, or an unnamed sadness welling up weighing heavily on your chest. In that moment, the darkness seems to swallow everything, and you wonder, is this just a sleepless night, or is my mind just in chaos? But deep within, there is another whisper, gentle yet firm, like a breeze rustling through dry grass, reminding you that this is not the restlessness of ordinary life. This is a divine stirring, a sign that God is touching your soul, calling you from sleep to lead you to a new horizon where He is planting seeds for wonders. The restlessness you feel with thoughts looping like a stuck record is something modern life often brings. It's the echo of long workdays, piled up bills on the kitchen table, or health concerns you hide behind a smile. For middle-aged and older Americans, these moments are familiar. You may be used to waking in the middle of the night, your mind racing with questions. Am I doing enough? Have I missed something? But pause, take a deep breath, and listen. That heaviness, those unbidden tears rolling down your cheeks, or the trembling prayer on your lips, they are not signs of weakness or chaos. They are the marks of a deeper stirring, a holy disruption that only God in His infinite wisdom can ignite. Spiritual stirring is entirely different from ordinary restlessness. Restlessness leaves you feeling lost, like driving through fog without seeing the road. It's unanswered questions, tangled thoughts that make you want to pull the covers over your head and forget everything. But spiritual stirring is a small flame igniting in your chest, a gentle yet powerful push, as if God is tilling the soil of your soul to plant new seeds. It won't let you rest, not because it seeks to torment you, but because it's preparing you for something greater. A revelation, a healing, or a path you never dared to dream of. When you wake at 3 a.m., it's not your body betraying you. It's God inviting you into a silent dialogue where He reveals secrets daylight cannot hold. A story from a prayer group in suburban Ohio illustrates this. Martha, a 62-year-old woman, used to wake at 3 a.m. with unease, thinking it was stress from caring for her ill husband. But one night, instead of trying to sleep, she sat with her worn Bible and let the stillness guide her. In that moment, she felt a strange peace, as if God were telling her everything would be okay. She began journaling thoughts that came at 3 a.m. and gradually realized they weren't anxiety, but reminders from God of strength and hope. Martha's story is not unique. Across America, from small towns to big cities, many older adults have found meaning in these late-night moments, realizing it's not insomnia, but an invitation from God. Spiritual stirring isn't always easy to recognize. It may come with discomfort, like a cold breeze through an open window. You might want to call it anxiety aging or just a bad night's sleep. But take a moment to listen. Place your hand on your chest, feel your heartbeat, and ask, could this be God speaking to me? He doesn't require you to understand immediately. He only wants you there in the stillness so He can sow seeds of faith, hope, and love. Whatever it is, trust that this moment is not random. It is part of the grand plan God has crafted for you. The moonlight fades from the sky, leaving your room in a soft glow, where shadows and light intertwine like unspoken whispers. You sit there in the stillness of 3 a.m., feeling your heartbeat merge with the pulse of the night. The stirring in your chest is no longer a fearful mystery, but an invitation, a sign that God is present closer than ever. But why does He call you at this hour? Why does He awaken you, not in the morning sunlight or amid the noise of life, but in the silence of the deep night? The answer lies in the sacred purpose of this awakening. God is working within you, healing hidden wounds, preparing you for unseen paths, and reminding you that you are His beloved creation, guided through every step by eternal love. Each time you open your eyes in the darkness of 3 a.m., it is not an interruption, but an invitation from the Creator who painted the galaxies and placed breath in your chest. He does not wake you to disturb, but to restore. Life with its long days and invisible burdens can weary your soul even when your body rests. Worries about finances, unfinished conversations with loved ones, or dreams you once cherished but set aside all leave small cracks in your soul. For middle-aged and older Americans, these cracks often run deeper as you've lived through decades of joys and sorrows. But at 3 a.m., God steps in not with rebuke, but with a gentle balm ready to soothe hurts no one else sees. One purpose of this awakening is healing. Not the loud healing with spotlights or grand declarations, but a quiet healing, like gentle rain nourishing a parched field. There are pains you carry, a hurtful word from years ago, a missed opportunity, or a loss that still stings when you think of it. God sees them even when you've learned to hide them behind smiles or busy days. In the stillness of the night, He touches those wounds not to reopen them, but to stitch them with threads of love and grace. He knows you cannot sleep soundly when your soul is restless, so He calls you awake not to exhaust you, but to offer true rest, a profound peace no pillow can provide. But healing is only part of the story. The 3 a.m. awakening is also how God prepares you for what lies ahead. Life never stands still, even when you've passed 50 or 60. You might think your days of adventure are over, that the future holds only familiar routines. But God, in His infinite wisdom, sees paths you cannot. He wakes you to whisper strategies to rekindle dreams you buried and to strengthen you for challenges to come. For many older Americans, this stage of life may bring big changes: retirement, moving, or caring for loved ones. The 3 a.m. moments are where God gives you light not to see the entire journey, but enough to take each step with confidence that He is leading. A story from a small community in Tennessee illustrates this. John, a 67-year-old retired teacher, used to wake nearly every night at 3 a.m. with a restlessness he couldn't explain. At first, he thought it was age or retirement worries. But one night, instead of trying to sleep, he sat with a cup of tea and a small notebook. In the stillness, he began writing not about anxieties, but about ideas that came to mind, lessons he wanted to share, stories he wished to pass on to younger generations. Those 3 a.m. nights became a source of inspiration, leading him to publish a small book about his life, a project he'd never considered before. John later said he felt God whispering in those moments not to scare him, but to call him to a new purpose. John's story is not unique. Across America, older adults have found new meaning in life through these late-night moments, realizing God is preparing them for a new chapter. This awakening also carries a deeper purpose to remind you that you are loved, chosen, and known. In American culture, where personal value is often measured by success or productivity, middle-aged and older adults may feel forgotten, as if the world has moved on without them. But at 3 a.m., God reminds you that you remain central to His plan. He knows the hopes you tuck under your pillow, the questions you dare not voice, and the dreams you think it's too late to pursue. He wakes you, not because He needs you to do something, but because He wants to be with you, like a father sitting by his child listening to each breath. His love has no limits, unbound by what you've achieved or lost. In the stillness of the night, He whispers, "You are mine, and I will never leave you." The room remains quiet in the dim light of the night, like a soft blanket wrapping you in the chill of 3 a.m. The gentle ticking of the clock, like the rhythm of an old lullaby, guides you into a space where time seems to slow. The stirring in your heart has calmed, giving way to a gentle feeling as if God is sitting beside you, unhurried, undemanding, simply wanting to share a moment of peace. You know this is not insomnia, not anxiety, but a sacred invitation, a chance to meet Him in the stillness. But how do you embrace this moment? How do you open your heart to God's presence when the darkness of night and wandering thoughts might make you hesitate? The answer is as simple as a hot cup of tea on a cold night. Just be there present with a sincere heart and let Him guide you as the small moments of life have brought you joy. Embracing the 3 a.m. moment requires no elaborate rituals or ornate prayers. For middle-aged and older Americans who have lived through many seasons of life, from vibrant summer days on the porch to quiet winter nights by the fireplace, this simplicity offers special comfort. Life may have taught you that the most meaningful things often come from small moments: a grandchild's hug, a handwritten letter from an old friend, or a peaceful Sunday morning at church. The 3 a.m. hour is no different. God does not ask you to be prepared or perfect. He simply wants you to sit still, letting Him whisper words of love into your soul. Begin by breathing deeply, letting the cool night air fill your chest. Place your hand on your heart. Feel its steady beat and let the stillness embrace you like an old friend. There's no need to rush, no need to seek answers immediately. Just say in silence, "I'm here, Lord." Those words don't need to echo or be perfect. They only need to be sincere, like the way you once whispered goodnight to your children when they were young. In your presence, God will do the rest. He will fill the silence with peace as the moonlight fills a corner of the night sky. A story from a Minnesota town illustrates this. Eleanor, a 71-year-old retired nurse, had a habit of waking at 3 a.m. for no clear reason. Those nights, she often worried about her son struggling with work in a distant city. But one night, instead of letting anxiety lead, she sat in her old armchair in the living room with a small candle and a journal. She didn't write much, just a few fleeting thoughts, and prayed in silence without words. In that moment, she felt a strange peace, as if God were saying her son would find his way. Later, she learned that on those very nights, her son began finding hope through conversations with a new friend. Eleanor said those 3 a.m. moments taught her to trust not only in God, but in the stillness she once feared. Embracing this moment also means keeping distractions at bay. In American culture, where smartphones and TVs are always within reach, you might be tempted to fill the silence with noise, a late-night news report, a social media post, or a short video. But at 3 a.m., God invites you to set those aside. Turn off the phone, let the screen go dark, and let stillness be your companion. It's not a frightening void, but a doorway drawing you closer to God. If your mind begins to wander, if worries about tomorrow or memories of yesterday arise, don't be afraid. Let them pass like leaves on a river. You don't need to solve everything now. Just return to your breath, to your presence in that room. The room now feels like a small lighthouse in the heart of the night, the light from the candle on the old wooden table flickering, casting trembling streaks of light on the time-worn walls. It's 3 a.m., and the stillness surrounds you like a thick woolen blanket, soft yet firm, embracing you in the deep night's chill. The faint whistle of the wind through the window, crack like a gentle lullaby, blends with your heartbeat, slow and steady. In this moment, you sense a wondrous strength, not the roar of a storm or the blaze of fire, but the steady, gentle presence of God. A strength hidden in softness, like a mountain standing tall through centuries, yet allowing wildflowers to bloom on its slopes. At 3 a.m., you realize that true strength lies not in the loud, but in the profound stillness, where God's love envelops you as mighty as a rock, as tender as moonlight, guiding you through the darkness with a heart that is sheltered, cherished, and unconditionally loved. God's stillness is a beautiful paradox where strength and softness intertwine like a sharp sword wrapped in velvet, or a wind strong enough to shake a forest, yet gentle enough to caress a falling leaf. Think of the vast ocean capable of roaring in a storm, sweeping away everything in its path, yet also whispering gentle songs, lulling sandy shores under the moonlight. Or like the old oak in your backyard, perhaps in a small-town American suburb where you played as a child, standing firm through seasons of storms, yet its leaves dance in the morning breeze, a living waltz. God in the stillness of 3 a.m. is the same. He is the one who parted the Red Sea, making water stand as walls for his people to pass in awe. Exodus 14:21-22. Yet also the one who spoke to the prophet Elijah in a gentle whisper on Mount Horeb, enough to make a man kneel in reverence. 1 Kings 19:12. His strength needs no thunder or dazzling light. It lies in the gentleness of an invisible hand lifting you when you fall, drying tears you thought no one saw, and whispering words of love only your heart can hear. For middle-aged and older Americans, this contrast holds deep meaning. Life has taught you that strength is not just standing firm against hardship, but also the courage to be gentle with yourself and others. You may have once roared like a lion navigating years of raising children through sleepless nights, building a career through grueling days, or holding a loved one's hand through illness. But you've also learned that gentleness, a kind word in despair, a silent hug when words fail, or a moment listening to your grandchildren's dreams, holds equal power. At 3 a.m., God invites you into His stillness, where strength and softness blend so you can find healing hope and a love that embraces without judgment, asking only that you know you are deeply loved. This stillness is not emptiness, but a transformative strength, like a fire smoldering in a hearth, warm enough for a winter but not consuming. It is the deep river strong enough to sweep away the boulders of anxiety, yet gentle enough to lull you into peace. In American culture, where the fast pace and pressures often make you feel like you're racing time, the stillness of 3 a.m. is a refuge. For those who have lived over half their lives, these moments are a chance to return to yourself, to remember that you are not just what you've done or achieved, but a soul loved by God, created with purpose and value beyond worldly measures. A story from a small town in Georgia illustrates this contrasting strength. Robert, a 64-year-old veteran, carried painful memories from the Vietnam War. For years, he woke at 3 a.m. with nightmares, thinking they were just the aftermath of his past. But one night, instead of fighting the darkness, he sat by the window looking at the small garden he and his wife had tended for years. Beds of golden marigolds and rose bushes still blooming despite winter's approach. In the stillness, he prayed not with long words, but a single plea. Lord, please help me. That night, he felt a strange peace, as if an invisible hand was soothing his heart's wounds, strong as a soldier guarding a comrade, yet gentle as a mother rocking her child. Later, he began writing letters to other veterans sharing his story, and those letters brought hope to dozens. Robert said the strength to heal came not from grand battles, but from quiet moments when he felt God's steadfast yet tender love. Another story from a prayer group in Oregon deepens this understanding. Susan, a 68-year-old woman, found herself waking at 3 a.m. after losing her husband, feeling an aching loneliness. Instead of turning on the TV, she sat at her kitchen table with a cup of decaf coffee and a notebook writing short prayers. Those quiet moments, strong enough to carry her through grief, yet gentle enough to spark hope, led her to volunteer at her church and mentor younger women in her community. Susan's story, like Robert's, shows that the stillness of 3 a.m. is not just a refuge, but a transformative force, as solid as a fortress and as soft as a stream. When you sit in that room with the small candle burning and your breath mingling with the night air, let God's stillness envelop you. It is as strong as a mountain shielding you through every storm, yet as gentle as a stream ready to wash away your worries. You don't need to fight the darkness or prove anything. Just sit still, place your hand on your chest, and feel His love as steadfast as an oak, as light as a leaf. He is there not just to guide, but to hold you as the quiet of 3 a.m. becomes a sanctuary where you find not only strength, but God Himself, mighty as a rock, tender as moonlight, loving you beyond all measure. The room now feels like a small corner of heaven, the light from the nearly spent candle casting a faint warm glow like the breath of an approaching dawn. It's 3 a.m., and the stillness still embraces you, no longer a mighty strength or profound contrast, but a quiet gentleness, like cool water flowing over weary hands. The ticking of the wall clock blends with your breath, slow and steady, a reminder that time in this moment is no longer an enemy. You sit there feeling God's presence, not as a mountain or moonlight, but as an old friend sitting beside you on a familiar wooden bench, needing no words, only closeness. In the stillness of 3 a.m., your soul softens, like a sail taut with wind now released, letting God guide you to a haven of peace where all worries dissolve and you know you are loved, sheltered in this simple moment. God's closeness at 3 a.m. asks for nothing more than your heart open like a window welcoming the first light of day. For middle-aged and older Americans accustomed to long, busy days, from rushed mornings brewing coffee to late nights checking messages from children, this moment is a precious gift. Life may have led you to think you must always be doing something proving your worth, but here in the quiet room, God reminds you that you need do nothing. He only wants you there present as you once sat with your spouse sharing tea at sunset or stood quietly watching grandchildren play in the backyard. That closeness, simple yet profound, is where your soul finds rest like a weary traveler stepping into a familiar home. Let your breath blend with the cool, clear night air. No need for lengthy prayers or grand questions. Just sit still, feel your heartbeat, and let the stillness fill you like a glass slowly brimming with water. You might whisper a simple phrase, "Lord, thank you for being here." Or perhaps you stay silent, letting His presence speak as the candle's light needs no sound to dispel darkness. In this moment, every worry about unpaid bills, health not what it was, or the days ahead seems to melt like fog under sunlight. God doesn't come to solve all your problems instantly, but to remind you He walks with you step by step, breath by breath. A story from a Chicago suburb illuminates this gentleness. Linda, a 59-year-old retired bank employee, often woke at 3 a.m. with an emptiness as if life after work had stripped away part of her purpose. Those nights, she'd lie still, staring at the ceiling, thinking of busy days at the office or weekends taking her grandchildren to the park. But one night, instead of letting her mind wander, she got up, went to the living room, and sat in the old armchair her husband once loved. She didn't turn on the light, letting street lamp glow filter through the curtains. In the stillness, she felt God sitting beside her, saying nothing, just present. She began recalling small moments, her granddaughter's smile, a Sunday morning hymn at church, and realized they were gifts from Him. From then on, her 3 a.m. nights became Linda's hour, where she rediscovered joy in simple things, from writing letters to friends to tending her small backyard garden. Linda said God's closeness in those moments, like a quiet friend by her side, helped her find peace. This closeness is not just comfort, but a reminder that you are never alone. In American culture, where independence is prized, middle-aged and older adults sometimes feel lonely, especially when children leave home or loved ones are no longer near. But at 3 a.m., God is the companion who never leaves. He knows the days you feel strong, like when you rose after a setback, and the nights you feel weak, like when you quietly wept over an old memory. He doesn't judge, doesn't ask you to be stronger or different. He is there like the kind neighbor who brought cookies when you moved in or the friend who listened through tough days. His love is a home always welcoming, no matter your mood or story. Another story from a small Texas town clarifies this. Carl, a 70-year-old retired plumber, often woke at 3 a.m. thinking of his son who had moved to California and rarely called. Those nights he felt helpless, wanting to call but afraid to bother. One night, instead of letting worry lead, he went to the backyard, sitting on the old swing he'd built for his kids years ago. Under a starry sky, he felt the stillness like an embrace, and in that moment, God seemed like a father sitting beside him, hearing the sorrows he'd never voiced. He didn't pray much, just said, "Please keep my son safe." Strangely, that night he got a short text from his son, just a question about fixing a faucet, but enough to make him smile. From then on, Carl turned 3 a.m., moments into times to feel God's closeness, from sitting in the yard to writing short notes to his family. He said the stillness taught him that God isn't far away, but right here in the small things of daily life. As you sit in this room with the candle nearly gone and the cool night air, let God's closeness soothe your soul. No grand actions needed, just let Him be there like a friend, a father ready to listen. You don't need to carry yesterday's burdens or worry about tomorrow. Just be present, like standing still before a sunset or feeling the warmth of a loved one's hand. In the stillness of 3 a.m., you don't just wake. You are held, guided, and loved in a moment, simple yet complete, like a hot cup of tea in your hands or a warm glance from someone who will always be by your side. God is here not to change you, but to remind you that you are His home and He is yours forever.